It's hard to believe that this time of year, 2.5 weeks ago, I did a height of reset cut and we talked about bench height versus actual height of cut and all those sorts of things. Today it's a bit of a follow-up video, see how things are recovering. We'll have a look at the Santa Ana 2, and it's worth keeping in mind that that lawn was actually done 3 days before this. So the Santa Ana has 2 days head or 3 days head start on recovery as what this TifTuff here does. We're going to give it a mow today. It has already had 2 mows, so this will be the 3rd mow, and I have continued to keep it at 8mm for now, and I will assess lifting the height of cut going forward potentially. So we'll just see. I know I spoke in the last video about raising heights of cut, but for the moment, I'm actually pretty happy with the recovery. It's recovered marginally better than I thought it would at this time of year without doing anything extreme to it. So happy with that. And the other thing worth noting is I'm going to put down some iron today and some seaweed secrets, etc. So let's crack on. Let's start off looking at this Santa Ana, and I can already see there's been a few differences between the two. Now, one of the bigger things I've noticed with this lawn here is it's actually growing. It's got more vertical growth happening than what the TifTuff does. Now, as we head up towards the more shady sections, recovery is a little bit slower, which is to be expected. So along here, a little bit slower, probably competing with a bit of nutrients from this hedge plant here. But again, this little corner here towards the car, again, still a little bit of recovery to go. Not too concerned. It's just going to be steady. Now, as I say, there's plenty more vertical growth here. In fact, the last time I mowed this, I got a full catcher off it. So it'll be interesting to see how we go today. It's probably overdue for a mow, but I held out so I could make this into a video for you guys. Towards the street now, again, I'm noticing recovery is a little bit slower than what I'm seeing in the TifTuff. Again, probably a little bit to do with these trees. And they've got a high water demand, and also the fact that it does get a little bit more heat and dryness from the road and the pathway. But as we come down to the TifTuff, you'll see straight away that although these trees are smaller, we're getting better recovery. So as far as recovery is concerned, a little bit thin there. Trees are getting to a fair size. There would be roots into this lawn area here by now without question. So I'm definitely finding that in this case, I'm getting better response from the TifTuff, getting better coverage as well, but I'm not getting the vertical growth. So that's really a win-win. So it's sort of filling out nicely, it's recovering nicely without a lot of growth. So I'm happy with that. Now, again, when we go back to the Santa Ana, another little patch here, which really has no major influence hindering its recovery, is the section here near the mailbox. Geez, that's close. So we look along here, again, a little bit bare. So although when these two lawns are fed within an inch of their life and they're both on point and you didn't know which was which, you're probably not going to be able to pick them apart. You're probably not going to be able to tell which one's which. But if you know there's a variation in the two lawns, you'll be able to see or know the difference. So this one here definitely giving more growth. I will suspect that this one probably won't mow as nicely, but let's find out. So we'll get a mow on now, and we'll see what we're dealing with. I can't wait to get some iron on this as well to see what sort of color we get. Well, that's coming up an absolute treat. Now, the catch is about probably half full, so there's a fair bit of leaf coming off in this mow, but as I said, I've held out mowing just so I can make this video for you guys. A couple little points that I'll point out now that are probably more noticeable. You'll see here, these lighter sort of circly patches. So there's a patch here, for example, and there's one over there. When we go back to the earlier video, the previous video, you'll notice there's a few green patches that didn't quite get scalped. That's one of them there, and that just shows you the difference between the colour in the new growth and the colour in the old growth coming back. So another little bit up there towards the TifTuff sign, but that's just sort of to be expected. So yeah, a little bit there. And a lot of that would have been masked if we top dressed. So if we have top dressed this lawn, you wouldn't have had those sort of marks, but I don't really see the benefit in doing a top dress just for a height of cut reset. It just doesn't really need to happen for me at this time. So we'll crack on with the mow, we'll keep going, then we'll go across and we'll do the Santarana and just see if we can see any visual differences at the end of the mow. Well, I'm super impressed at how that came out. So full catcher, nice clippings, probably took off probably about 8 mil or so. So certainly not the 1/3 rule, but we're at a situation where it's not really that relevant. So we'll tip this out. I was gonna finish up the street real quick. We'll go over the other side. We'll see how the Santarana looks after a mow. Then we'll get some iron out and try and pump a heap more color into it. And it'll do a few other things that we'll explain along the way. Righto, so what's going on? We're probably 2/3 of the way through this and we've got a full catcher now. It's worth keeping in mind this area on this side of the driveway is substantially smaller than what we've got with the TifTuff. So definitely noticing on this side here, there's a lot more vertical growth. And as we look around, I don't feel it's recovered as well, given the fact that it's also had a 3-day head start on the TifTuff. I mean, put your feedback, put your opinions in the comments. However, heaps more vertical growth. There's already a little bit of scalping, etc. So it's just an interesting sort of combination that not all turf grasses are the same, even though they might be the same variety, so to speak. They're just not all the same. So this can give you a really nice finish. It's still a fine grass, but I don't feel in this instance that it's recovering and performing quite as well as that TifTuff there. And look, it could be the same for the other varieties as well. But in my instance, I'm just comparing these two. But we'll crack on, we'll keep going. We'll have a look over it and we'll go from there. So as we walk around the lawn, apart from our edges that we've already discussed about being more of a shade related issue, as we look down, for example, along these lines here, you can see that there's substantially more of the older material still there. And in actual fact, just down here, did even get a little bit of scalping again since we've done our height of cut. Now, I suppose when you look at it that way, it doesn't look so bad. And the other thing worth noting is, had we have actually done a top dress, a lot of that would have been camouflaged or buried underneath that sand and we wouldn't have actually got the effect. But again, as I said before, not really what I was after. I just wanted to get through that thick grass, get back down to some fresh, clean growth, get it looking nice for winter. It should in essence help sustain the colour in our turf for longer as the weather cools down. We're still getting mid to high 20s throughout the day. Night temperatures have been a few random ones down to 6 and 7 degrees, but closer to sort of 10 and 12. So still a little bit of time, not too worried. This will all recover. It'll look great before winter hits. But 3 weeks for this, less than 3 weeks for that, not looking too bad. So we'll do a direct comparison now, wander back across, see what's happening over there. So straight away, as we come across, it's much more even, it's much more uniform. We don't have nearly as much of the old growth and the white bits and the yellowing, as we said, a little tiny bit there, etc. But as we look around, I do feel on this occasion, this is the better grass of the two for recovering and getting itself established in time for the end of the season. So again, we look this way, there is a slight little bit of white through here, which was our super thick patch. There is that little bit there that we spoke about. The lighter patches, which were the bits that were still green in the actual height of cut reset, they might be slightly lower, or they are sort of slightly lower, a little bit of depression going on there in the ground. Some top dressing in spring will take care of that. But as we look around on a whole, I think it's pretty good. What do you guys think? Again, tell me in the comments which one you prefer. And yeah, let's talk about now. Let's go on to doing some liquid stuff, and while we're doing it, the plan from here on in now is to apply some iron. Now, as I said at the start of the video, obviously iron does help to increase colour in turf. So if you're looking for a colour improvement without the surge of growth, you're probably better suited to looking to an iron-based product than actually just throwing fertiliser on a lawn that may not actually require those nutrients. But today, using the iron for a little bit of a different reason. So let's talk a little bit about that now. So as I said, we know that this stuff can green up, but iron does a lot more to turf than just that. Today, because we're coming to the end of the season, we're looking to get this grass as healthy as we can before it absolutely turns really cold here. And probably for us, July is when we're probably going to get some regular frosts. August, we're going to get our extreme frosts, etc. So what are we today? Today, April, so still got plenty of time. Okay, anyway, enough waffling on. Iron is going to do a couple of things for me here today. First thing it's going to do, it's going to help strengthen this plant. It's going to create nice healthy cells within the plant walls. It's going to aid in the creation and production, I should say, the production of chlorophyll, and it's going to aid in the photosynthesis, and that's the ability for the light to go into the plant and turn into the sugars and create the lawn green, healthy, happy, etc. So we're going to use this as I guess as a tonic in a sense. So we're not just really chasing the green, we're chasing the benefits of. So the improved cell structure, we're chasing the ability to photosynthesize, we're chasing the ability to create chlorophyll, which is our greenness, etc. So let's get that in there now. It's always worth noting this stuff will stain. So avoid getting it on concrete pathways and stuff unless you want to then go down the road of trying to find products to remove the yellow staining that you will get with that if you get it on the concrete. We're also going to use our Seaweed Secrets from Plant Doctor. So this is obviously more like a tonic, more like a vitamin C tablet that I sort of regularly talk about for the human body, sorry. It's just going to also create the vigor, it's going to help against the cold, etc. And again, our Stimulizer, just to unlock any nutrients in the soil. It's also going to help root stimulation, root production, root development, etc. It's also worth noting, I did actually forget to mention with the iron. So when it comes to using the iron, the other thing it does, it can actually help protect the turf to a degree against frost. Now, I don't recommend applying iron during frosts because you can actually turn your lawn to mush. It can actually have the negative effect. But leading up to the cooler, frostier conditions, you can use iron just to give your plant the absolute, grass, plant, whatever, the absolute best chance of getting through winter as healthy as possible. So let's apply these now. I'm not applying any products that need to be watered in. These are literally products that I'm going to put on the leaf and leave overnight. And then what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Monday. I've got an irrigation cycle due in the morning. That'll rinse this off the leaf, carry it down into the soil, and it'll do a little bit more down there as well. So we'll chuck this out, and before you see this video go live, I will do an update in the closing credits. And finally, I actually did forget to mention, if you are chasing any of these Plant Doctor products, please use my link in the description below, Bren10, B-R-E-N 10. It gives you 10% off, and I do actually receive a commission on those sales. So it does help the channel, it funds the channel, it helps me keep doing these things. So if you're using Plant Doctor products and you're not using my code and you're liking my videos, use the code because it helps me out. And just like that, that is all done. Now, if you're wondering about the spray suit, let me explain. Iron basically stinks, and with the spray drift, well, you can't see it now, but it sort of drifts everywhere. It gets on your boots, it gets all that sort of stuff. So I just wear the spray suit just to, when the spray suit's off, all the stinky iron, all that sort of stuff is gone. Now, it should start working pretty much straight away in the leaf with visual. You'll start to notice a visual difference within a few hours, and obviously within the preceding 2 or 3 days is when you're going to really notice a huge improvement. But I'm just looking behind me there now, and I really feel that TifTuff has done amazing things to begin with. And I'll pan around there now, give you guys a look, see if you think it's actually improved since we started. I don't know if it's just me or if there is a difference, but I'm pretty happy, really impressed with the recovery. Anyway guys, look, have a fantastic weekend. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. We'll catch you next time on the Aussie lawn. And as I said, just remember, iron works best if left on the leaf without watering it in straight away. So watering in the morning, iron today, gives you the best results. Over and out. See you guys. Well, I don't think it would really be fair on me if I was to upload this video without really bringing you up to present day time. Today's the 1st of May, so a couple of days out before this video goes live. I've just finished giving this a cut. It's been about 6 days since I've mown it, and I was actually still getting quite a lot of grass. Full catcher off this Santarana behind me here, and the TifTuff was a catcher and a half. So they've balanced themselves out. They're about the same given the size, so they're both now growing at about the same rate. Earlier in the video, we talked about the fact that the Santarana here had actually scalped in one little patch. Today, that wasn't an issue. So it's really started to balance itself out and start to put on a little bit more lateral growth rather than some vertical growth. So still got our issues, well, still got our slow spots here, which are still dramatically improved. They will slowly continue to improve all the way through until we receive our frosts. Then they will really slow off. Same here, this is a bit of a shady little corner house. Overall though, really happy with how this is looking at the moment. We'll just try and wander over here. We'll have a little look and see. The scalping, the scalp has gone, so I'm happy with that. Looking pretty good. Again, along the street here, better than what it was earlier in the video. Still a little bit of a ways to go. Again, these southern facing sides of these trees will be shade related as well, because it's more prominent on those sides. So we'll wander down now. Let's have a look at this TifTuff, because I think still that's where it really shines. So looking at this, I still see a massive improvement in colour. We're looking at a really nice tight lawn here now. Looking really, really nice. Still at 8mm, and I didn't actually think I'd still be 8mm at this point in time. I thought it would have been 10 heading towards 12, but for now, I'm just going to roll with it and just see how we go. As you can see, it's certainly not complaining about it at all. But anyway, guys, look, I just wanted to bring you up to speed on how everything's looking present day. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. We'll catch you next time on the Aussie Lawn.